I appreciate that. Make that little musical thing go. That's always been good music for us to do.
Hey, you're on,
This,
Mark.
and of course, we got Nick going to join us as well. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to come on the screen very shortly. He says he's got some good news and some other news as well. But, one of the things I was curious about it, of course, I'm over here at Haytime once again. So we got Black Santa going on for another day of the holidays and everything. But I did see in the news today that U.S. consumer prices are up 5.7% over the past year. And they're saying that that's the fastest pace in 39 years. So they're saying that this is a surge in inflation and that this is what's going on as folks are going shopping. So I imagine people are still out there shopping and all of that. I've been always one of those procrastinators, get all my shopping done at the last second and things of that nature. But Nick, one, have you got your Christmas shopping done as we've only got 2 days to go? And two, are you at all concerned about these kind of reports where they're talking about inflation and we're going into a new year of 2022? And they did say that personal income has risen 0.4% in November, slightly lower than the 0.5% increase in October. So it seems like they're saying that these are some things that we need to be concerned about. But I was wondering, one, have you gone shopping? And two, are you concerned about possibility of inflation in 2022?
Okay, in terms of shopping, that's what my boss does. So she takes care of all the shopping. So I don't do the shopping. She does a lot of it online and regularly. So I don't have to worry about that. Inflation doesn't affect us. Okay, it's just the nature of where we're at economically. It affects lower end people. They're the ones who get screwed. People like me, doesn't make a difference. So I already talked about this morning with my wife. I said, doesn't make a difference to me. You know, we don't even feel the effects. But I would imagine, lower end people, it makes a big difference to. So that's where it's with inflation. Now, what does affect us is COVID-19. I
Right.
mean, the thing is that stuff is a real problem because I travel and I have travel scheduled right now for Miami and I travel for New York City. So I've got in the next couple of weeks going out to 2 different cities, and I buy all my hotels and cars and everything in advance. So this was bought out months and months ago. And the problem with that is that I may have to cancel. And part of the reason you buy in advance, you get better deals. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I like the book, The Millionaire Next Door. Look for the deals, baby. Okay. But the problem is that because of COVID, I might have to cancel New York and Miami. And because this thing with Omicron, here's my opinion of it, it's going to get a lot worse, Mark,
Well,
because Americans aren't taking it seriously. In the Republican Party, which I know that you worship and love, there's only a
oh, yeah.
60%. There's only a 60% shot rate. The Democrats are over 90%. Well, that means the exposure is incredible. Going out on COVID-19, where I could get infected even though I'm fully vaxxed. I could still get the bloody COVID, and being asthmatic, that's not fun. I can tell you that right now. So that to me is the biggest problem I'm looking at is COVID-19. It's not the inflation, doesn't affect me. COVID does. And in terms of Christmas, we bought out months before. So, I don't know how Sasha's doing in Canada. I did like his show yesterday. The Modern Investing Show has certainly having those small caps is a real treat because I don't know that much about small caps. I don't even look at them. So, Sasha, what's up with you in your part of the woods?
I'm afraid, Nick, that we are both are just too old for small caps. It's very fascinating. It's very interesting, but it's not. It's definitely for younger people, and it's good for people who are not worrying about preservation of capital idea,
Sure,
but they
right.
want to actually score big. And when I scored big when I was much younger, I did not know even what it is, a preservation of capital. What capital? What
Sure. No, I totally understand it, but a lot of our viewers are young people, and
right.
the young people may like to listen to the small cap.
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
small cap.
So we are going to develop this article, and actually, I have. Although I'm much older than I was when I scored big first, but I feel that not all of this behind me. I still have something ahead of me still. And I would like to pursue it, obviously. Now about shopping, normally same thing situation with like with Unique. My wife does all that, but in her situation where she's now, after breaking her hip.
Well, how is she doing? That's usually not so
well,
good.
she's at home now, recuperating. It's a slow process, like every day.
She can still play chess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Life is good then.
Yeah. Even when she was in rehab, I brought a chess set and a clock, and we played speed blitz games. So it's still there.
Right.
She didn't break her head, just a hip.
Yeah, well, you need your hands. You need your hands so you can move and hit the clock at the same time.
Your hands are still okay.
And if you're a really good speed player, it's one motion, boom, like that. And you.
So, Sasha, I've got to tease you and ask you because it's the holidays and everything. So, are you the better chess player, or is she the better chess player? And
she's the Canadian champion.
I must admit, she's still a better player. I got as close as possible. I can play some, say, 10 games match, 5-5, maybe lose 6-4, but this is it's a great progress. And when we would wipe me out easily.
Why do you think he does investing? I mean, his wife was 8-time Canadian champion or some crazy thing like that.
And she played in 14 Olympiads, mostly on first board. She's got once gold medal on second board, and she's got bronze medal on first board. And she was facing people like Maya Chuburdanidze, world champion at the time.
Yes, I know Chuburdanidze.
She drew her.
Really?
She beat Pia Kramnik.
World champion, by the way.
Pia Kramnik.
We have people saying hello to us, by the way.
Top 10 most of the time.
Yeah.
John Neeb was saying hello to us and everything. So I don't know who John Neeb is, but John Neeb said hello and said hello to us. And definitely we're going live on Brandon's Twitch. So at some point we got to play his ad and everything.
Oh, that's true. Right. And I have to do a shout out to Sharon Ensley because she goes, well, are you going to mention me? So I mentioned you. Okay. For what it's worth. I have to do, your little shout outs and stuff like that. Yeah, but we do have some really great news coming up on the network. We are going on to Roku. The whole network's going to go plop and be on a fairly large streaming network. I thought we could have it done by the 1st of January, but it probably is not going to take place because it takes a while to work through their system. But it will be sometime maybe as early as February or maybe late January. I don't know. It really takes time to work through the computer system to get everything set up to go on to Roku. But it's definitely going to take place, and it's going to take place soon. So all the shows are going to be moved over in a streaming OTT platform all on Roku. So you can just turn on the Roku.
Can I understand? Yeah. So on Roku, people would go to Pod TV, and it would open them all available programs, and then they would select whatever programs they want to watch.
No. Okay. What would happen is it would go to the Pod TV, and it would show whatever sequential show that's available at that hour. Okay, so your show on Chess Stars, I think it's 3 o'clock Saturday. It'd show 3 o'clock Saturday Chess Stars, and then
So it shows a schedule of shows.
it's scheduled. Yeah, it's
Oh,
scheduled
okay.
television. So the thing is, and the thing is, and we're still working with the developers whether or not these shows can go in live, or actually have to tape them, transfer them over into a file, and then put them onto the disc, which means the World Edition, even though it'll go live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and all that other stuff. Okay, it may be on Roku an hour later. All right, because of you got to transform it. But if you want to learn more, Sasha, go to, and I've encouraged all the producers to go to tvstartup.com and sign up for their free demo, and then you'll see what we're doing. They have a free demo. The demonstrations, they're live demonstrations that go on all the time, and the developers will basically go through what they do for us. Don't bother to pay for it; it's already been paid for. But just go ahead and listen to all their stuff. What I call their pitch. It was pretty good pitch, So
we definitely have to check that out. I'm going to get to the polls. I know that you just love those polls.
I love the polls.
So
I was telling Rex Lee
polls.
about that. I was telling Rex Lee about the polls because he did get 1.5 million views on one of his shows. And the minute he gets there, you know what they do? They pull him, just like they pulled my poll, because they say you have too many views. And so they're a little frustrated with Cyber Talk because the guy that we met yesterday is really perfect. The guy with the Saber, security thing for a different show, Cyber Talk. It's not, I looked at it's not really good for my shows. Okay. But so he's so frustrated because he's going through the same thing we are. The minute you hit a streak mark and you're doing well, they shut you down. Once we go to Roku, they can't shut us down. It's over.
And shut us down, and we can even do more polls. And I did do those 2 polls that you suggested yesterday. The one about whether we needed to do a lockdown, and I've actually got some news about that, as well as whether we needed to consider stimulus packages. So both of those are out there as well. But as to your presidential poll, we are at 20,319 views for the second poll and everything, and 614 votes. And right now it's a runaway. Trump is running away with 50%. Obama's 27%. Carter's got 16%, and our good old friend Andrew Jackson has got 7%. But
yeah, no one cares about these old presidents. It's kind of funny. They go, even though they technically may be the worst, they don't drum up many votes. And also, there's a big demand to throw Biden into the mix, Mark.
There is, and
I don't know when you're going to do that.
I think he will get thrown into the mix at some point or another, but there's definitely a big push for that. I don't think it's going to be the next one because I got a couple of people, including one of Sasha's favorites, because I think I'm going to throw Woodrow into the mix next time around as well. But that being Mr. Wilson and maybe LBJ. But yes, I think Biden will probably be one of the early ones. Maybe that's how we'll celebrate his 1-year anniversary. Maybe we'll throw him in before he does his 1 year, talk to the people and all of that. But yeah, there was somebody that wanted me to throw in Richard Nixon, and I had to tell them, hey, I already had Nixon. So they were not following all this conversation and everything. And there were folks that were, like you said, we're trying to get Biden thrown into the mix, and they're still trying to get Biden thrown into the mix as well. Even though I must love Paul Corrigan's comment. He just said all politicians in general are horrible. He used another word, but we don't need to say that in a family hour and everything.
Yeah. But what we should do is take a quick commercial break because we have to run a couple commercials. Here's one of them. And since you just mentioned it, we'll bring it up. Since that's your thing, the worst presidents is on Tuesday at 1:00 live, and of course you can also watch it AVOD or.
Hey, I like that. Yeah, that's going to be a nice party and everything.
Yeah,
but Dr. Fauci said that large gatherings this holiday season are not safe, so he doesn't want you to have big time New Year's Eve parties, and he's definitely not trying to have large families. So doing a White House COVID-19 news briefing. He said to stay away from large gatherings, which he defined as 30 to 50 people. So that might rule out some New Year's Eve parties, maybe not the home New Year's Eve parties, but definitely some of those big functions, because he said he called parties and larger gatherings a higher risk but he said it would be safe for fully vaccinated people who are boosted to attend smaller family gatherings. So, if you're going to hang out with just your immediate family, that might be
but
all right.
here, okay, whatever he says doesn't matter. Here's what's going to happen, because they
Yes.
already have the stats come out. There are 100 million people that are traveling to see family members during the Christmas season,
Mhm.
and they're all going to spread this Omicron virus like crazy. And then January 1st, everybody's going to party down. They're going to spread it again like crazy. By January, when I'm traveling, Omicron's going to be really, really nutty. That's what's going to happen, which is one reason I'm in Pfizer stock, Sasha. It's your only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi, because the thing is, Americans aren't listening. They have wax in their ears. They don't understand. Oh, I don't understand. And everything's a conspiracy theory or whatever small-minded things that they're thinking about. It's not this. And so we're going to have a really sick puppy here, probably in first quarter, which means that I'm not going to travel, and I'm going to be really upset because I can't go to Miami Beach and I can't go to New York, and it's just horrible. It's a first world problem.
It's just
At
going to
least
be
I won't be in the
horrible.
hospital. I won't be in the hospital. But,
Yeah, we don't want you in the hospital.
Hey,
But, even back on Tuesday, Biden had said that he's not going to shut the country down again, even with that Omicron variant spreading rapidly in the U.S. and accounting for 73% of all of the confirmed infections. So he's already said that he's not going to shut down the country again because he's afraid of what that might do.
He's just tired of it. I mean, after a while, you get sick and tired of it. Here's the reality. All right. If you're vaccinated, at least you'll get sick, but you won't die. And if you're not, you may die. Okay. And that's just the realities of it. And after a while, I think people are just like anybody who gets sick going forward. It's a voluntary thing, so you're forearmed. You already know. And even us, we're going to not go to any of the parties. We're in a distance because my kids are coming back from Los Alamos, New Mexico.
Mhm.
And we're supposed to get together when they come back. Well, we're not. What we're going to do is get together in a socially distant format because they're going to see people in Los Alamos we don't know. They're going to see people on the plane we don't know. They're going to see people in the airport we don't know. They could all be infected, and they could be an asymptomatic carrier. I mean, that's the realities of it. Okay. So smart money goes, okay, we've already made a decision. We're going to get together, but it's going to be in socially distant outside. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do. And if the data comes in January, which I believe it's going to happen, it's going to be absolutely horrible. You're going to see data you haven't seen before that are people sick, people dying, hospitals fill. Then what happens? Your travel plans are going to be canceled. And right now, Mark, I'll have zero travel plans after those 2 weeks. I'm not even going to book in advance because these people they're not taking this thing seriously. To them, it's like, oh, well, it's affecting my trip to whatever. Yeah, it is. It's one of these stupid, weird, deadly diseases. And
I would look into alternate plans. Supposedly, I think traveling by car is becoming an option. It's safer
Sure.
than flying.
I agree. I agree. Traveling by car. When I went to Italy a couple months ago, and Switzerland and Greece, they actually took it seriously. They had face masks. We had to have tests. We had to have vaccine cards. Now think about it, Sasha. Before you board the plane, you have to have a test. You have to show your vaccine card, and you must wear a mask. Okay, they call that taking it seriously.
Yeah.
You come to the United States, they don't have that. Now, Italy, part of the reason why they wiped out a bunch of people over there because of COVID-19. So they got religion here, buddy. The U.S. they're wiped out in the hospitals, and people don't even see them. They're just another body bag tag in a hospital. And so the thing is, we don't see it. Our media has done a horrible job, absolutely horrible job, of showing what this actually does. They really are, really hard. And so what happens is, because we're not taking it seriously, you're right. If you're in a car, your wife, you're vaxxed, you go down, and then you go see two people that are vaxxed, you're probably okay. That's not a big deal. But if you sit there and you're going to go mingle with a bunch of other, I didn't go to most of the holiday parties. I said, forget it.
You stayed away from those and everything. But some people are now saying that there's a push among some of the schools. I think that there's going to be a delay at Duke of in-person schooling and things along those lines in January. I think there's been a push of even some of the grade schools to push back as well. and to open up later or to kind of like reinforce stuff in 2022. So, like I said, I've only got my 2 nephews, no kids of my own. I know y'all have grandkids. At least I know you do, Nick. I think you do as well,
I have
Sasha.
3 of them. Yeah.
But that being said, what are you hearing about the whole concept of kids, and are you concerned about the grandkids maybe not even going to school back as early as they would have in the past? Because a lot of people are saying that that's very frustrating for the kids, and it may not even be good for their health. So I was wondering, what is your thoughts as a grandparent?
Mm,
You know,
Nothing to talk about. It's a really horrible situation. It's now, since it's already a 3rd year starts pretty soon since coronavirus pandemic started, their lives are being altered in quite substantial way, because the most of the time they don't go to school, so they cannot mingle with their friends or so on. It's very different situation with Zoom learning and so on. My older grandson, he's in hockey. So he was playing for a very strong hockey team in Toronto, then in Cornwall, which is halfway between Toronto and Montreal, closer to Montreal. And all that was canceled. So he hasn't played hockey for a year. Now he's traveling to Virginia, where he's offered a place in a team and entrance to the university there. So we'll see how it goes, because that may also not materialize. He's leaving in 3 or 4 days, and I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, we have such first world problems. Okay, you have to imagine, oh boy, kid can't go to school. Now think about it. The generation ahead of us had to go through the Depression,
Right.
World War One, World War Two. Okay, my grandmother, interestingly enough, she started off when there was horse and buggy was how she went to school, or you walked. There was no cars. She was born in 1890, died in 1990. Okay, 100 years. But think about it. The Great Depression, that wasn't a piece of cake for the people that lived there. What about World War One? That wasn't fun. What about World War Two? That wasn't fun either. And so what do these kids do? Oh my Lord, they can't go to school. They have to learn off the internet. Boy, my tears are just flowing. Come on, Mark.
I hear your tears flowing, but
what is wrong with it? What is wrong with
you
people?
bring up an interesting point, because I've had a couple of guests, including
Lord, give me a
one that was
break.
on yesterday, that were very frustrated, and this is actually one of your favorite topics as well. They were frustrated by the news media, because every time they turned on the news, they were seeing things that were negative and negatively covered. So they were going like, where's the good news, and where's the good news reports? Like, they remembered the old days of maybe not all good news, but you would watch like Charles Carlton. They might be like some good news reporter, or even Walter Cronkite would sometimes give some news that wasn't just about the war. So they were very frustrated, because they were like, I know there's got to be some people doing some positive things, some inventions and other things.
CBS, as much as I slam them, have a good show called Sunday Morning,
Yes.
which is you can get on video on demand. It's worth seeing. In other words, I watch it every week because it's good stories, you know. So there are some, but here's the real problem. Okay, Mark, just to let you know, right? People love to eat junk food because it's addictive and it's horrible for you.
Right.
Okay, so notice, addictive and horrible for you, but people like to do it, which is one reason Junk Food Alley is everywhere in the United States of America. Okay, junk TV. People like to eat and consume junk TV. So it's everywhere. And that's the real reason it is everywhere, is because people like to consume it. It's like there's a lot of bad stuff out there that people just like to consume, and junk TV sells. And even when it comes to the politicians, I'm going to pick on a couple because they're up here. Our friend Donald, okay, and our friend Joe, okay. Here's the realities of their world. They did studies on it. Negative advertising sways votes.
Yes.
And after they did so many studies on the negative advertising does votes, we found a guy who was a master in negativity. There he was. And he won the presidency of the United States because of that. I mean, so even though you say, well, really, it shouldn't be that way. People should watch good TV. Ain't going to happen. You know, the thing is, next thing they turn on is, well, you know, let's go find something horrible to discuss. I did notice, because I have a whole list of stuff that Steve talks about. He's not here today. One of them is this favorite topic, global warming.
Yes.
You know, And the thing is, that is actually a controversial topic, which in some reality shouldn't be, but it is. There's a whole group of people believe that there's two things. One, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. It's just it's the sunspots going up and down. It's the regular atmosphere changes that take place. And frankly,
so let me get this right. So these
in other
people
words,
believe. So let me get this right. So these people believe that 50-degree or 70-degree temperatures in December in North Carolina are normal. That's what these people believe.
It's just a natural swing of the weather. And then there's a group of people that believe, okay, it does exist, but it's not caused by people. It's caused by atmospheric changes, random stochastic changes. Okay, so that when you go to the studies of, and then they'll pull a scientist who says, well, it has global warming. People have nothing to do with it. It's just random sunspots coming after you. Then they pulled a study of all the scientists out there, in other words, that were credentialed. And it was all published on SSRN. There are people who believe that people have nothing to do with global warming. And they're scientists that have studied it. It's 3% of the scientists, Mark. 97% say people cause it. Now, here's Sasha, who likes to go to the roulette tables. You got a roulette table that will give you 97% chance of winning. Or are you going to go to one that has a 3% chance of winning? Where do you put your money on?
It's an easy guess.
Easy guess. Go for the 97%. So Mark, here's the real deal with global warming.
Yeah.
You're a 97% odds-on favorite that people actually do cause global warming. Okay, I mean, it's just, in other words, the junk that we throw out in the atmosphere create it. Now, the real question is, do you want to do anything about it? You know, and how much do you want to pay for it? So there's some interesting things that on global warming, and we should probably, we could do a whole special on that area. Again, it just takes work, to put together a special on that. I think it's very fascinating.
It's very fascinating. Speaking of specials,
we're going to let Steve handle it.
Yes.
He's not here.
He's not here, but we're going to get Stephen on that whole global warming and some of the smart cities and everything else that he's really big on. But I actually had a question that I was going to actually ask Sasha, and it was actually one of those kind of fun holiday questions because, it's a holiday special. So we're going to have some holiday fun. One of the things that I remember about Canada was that, and I don't know how much you follow it and everything, but Canada used to have some very rich comedy. Like I remember SCTV and some other things that came out of Canada. It was very campy, but it was still funny and it was still fun. Is that still the same kind of thing that you're seeing on your TV in Canada now? Or has it gotten one way or the other? Or do you even follow any of those kind of comic television shows and comic things that go on? Because that even made its way down here to the United States. And I don't know if it's still as popular as it used to be. So do you ever watch the comedy shows there, and do they really draw your interest?
I used to watch it, but not lately. And it's became almost an icon of Canadian comedy or entertainment scene and so on. And I hope they're still doing good, because there's no reason why they couldn't attract talented writers, producers, performers, and so on. So I'm pretty sure they're doing okay.
I don't know. Nick, do you remember watching that? That was actually a campy and fun kind of show back in the day and everything, SCTV.
I don't watch Canadian TV. Are you kidding me? I'm an
You don't
American.
watch Canadian TV?
No, the only thing I know it comes out of Canada is they love to play hockey, and if you say A, they're happy, and that's about it. It's a great place to visit, but wouldn't want to live there. It's too cold. However, that is changing. So now Canada becomes a place where people will go to, because it used to be, who would live there? It's like 0 degrees all year long. But now with global warming, hey, it's a tropical paradise.
But
So
it's
maybe-
0 degrees every place.
every place. But with that, we should take another break because we've got a New Year's special coming on. Let's bring them on. I don't know how he's going to do the cocktails. I mean, I saw the ad, Mark, and I was going like interviews and cocktails. And
Well,
I know
he's gonna
the
mix some
gaming.
drinks. You know, he'll have his drink while he's in his place, and they'll have their drink while they're in their place, and they won't be in
So
the
they do
same place.
do virtual
Virtual
cocktails.
cocktails. And by the way, we have this person that came by and they were being humorous. They said that may our holiday smiles glow while we're sampling yellow snow. And I think that was a reference to something that people may do outside while they're running around and everything. And I'm not trying to sample any yellow snow. It would be very untasty and very not good for your health. So I'm
Okay.
not trying
Well,
to do that.
also not good for your health. I have to do another shout out. We have a guest coming on next Wednesday, Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong. Now
Oh,
he's
wow.
not going to be on World Edition. Sorry, Mark. He's going to be on Weed Wednesday with Jeff Ican. And Jeff called me yesterday, and he talks for like an hour and a half, like at night. Where's I going to go? Blah, blah, blah. I got Tommy Chong coming on again. No one ever talks about him. I said, wait. Now here's the problem with Tommy Chong and Cheech and Chong. In my generation, everybody should have heard of him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
famous because of the movie Cheech and Chong. As you go down to the younger generation, they may not know who he is. So they have to Google him. Who's Tommy Chong at Cheech and Chong? But they had a great movie that came out years ago, and anyway, he's going to be a guest on Jeff Ican's show Wednesday. So I had to do a shout out because otherwise Jeff goes, nobody ever talks about my show. Okay, Jeff, I'm talking about your show.
And this is going to have Tommy Chong. We appreciate that. Speaking
Yeah.
of shows, I don't know if you caught the one yesterday, but we had a gentleman on, Rob, that had actually gotten together with his wife and had given up on his film career and pursued around going the world for several years. I think it was like around 15 or 17, and was pursuing, looking at the keys to happiness. So he and his wife went around after having had a very successful career in film, and I forgot where she was, but they went and sailed the ocean blue.
Did he give up his wife or did he give up his career? Which one was it? I'm just
He gave
curious.
up the career. The wife went with him.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. Okay, good.
It was
good.
impressive.
Good
Yeah,
to
they,
get,
they,
people do
they
that
went
out there.
around and traveled.
Yeah.
We also had another guest who had gone through some very tumultuous time because she had actually been assaulted when she was a youngster, and she comes from the Latin American society, but she is definitely doing a lot of things to raise awareness and to make a better life, not just for herself but others that have been victimized. But one of the things that she did after she came to terms with what had happened to her as a teenager was she at some point or another went skydiving. I told her, and there was Rob was a pilot, the Edgertons were pilots. Well, at least one of them, Byron, was. But they were like, they couldn't figure out why you would jump out of a perfectly good plane. That's my attitude as well. But maybe the two of you have thought that y'all wanted to go skydiving. So have either one of you tried skydiving, and was it something that inspired you or interested you? Because apparently the Griselda said that it was fascinating and she just had a blast doing it, but still didn't quite convince me to do it. But maybe I'll get convinced by
I think you got to do it when you're much younger. Sasha, do you ever do skydiving?
No.
Okay.
I never had the desire to do so.
No. I was afraid to get on a plane, let alone jump out of a plane. So I can tell you that was definitely not for me. I'm not the skydiver for sure. Also, we are being rebroadcast on Al Jazeera. For some reason, Big Al picks up all of our shows all the time, Sasha. They love it. The BBC has been spotty. They'll pick some up. They won't pick some up. And there's frankly nothing I can do about it. I sent it over to the BBC. They'll either say yay or nay. They picked up a lot of them, but they don't pick up all of them. Al Jazeera picks up all of our shows. I mean, it's just sort of amazing. So for some reason, we're liked in Qatar. And I can't tell you why, but it could have to do something with this because this just took place in Dubai and it's part of our culture. Now that's a fast commercial, isn't it, Sasha?
Well, remember in Dubai was the last World Championship.
It was the last World Championship was in Dubai. And is Chess Stars? Are we going to have new people on Saturday, or are we taking?
Not this Saturday. Next 2 Saturdays we will have the rerun of previous programs, and then starting January something.
Right.
I forgot what it is, 8th. I think January 8th, we will resume our new
Yeah.
exciting
Well,
program.
that's what we're going to do for Economics Monday and Media Monday. We're going to have repeats this Monday, and then we're
We're
going
gonna
to
have
resume.
repeats on this Monday.
Yeah,
That sounds like a
we're
plan.
going to resume back in January. I already have really some good guests lined up. I've Dennis Stearns lined up from the Stearns Financial Network, and he has about 1.6 billion under management, and he's part of a $80 billion group. A good guy. I've known him for 50 years. A chess player, of course,
Really
and
great.
yeah, actually, he played. He's like an expert chess player. He played on the Pan Am Championship with me,
Beautiful.
1977
Oh my
or
gosh.
76,
Wow.
something like that. So I've known him for a long time. 76. Anyway, he developed a nice size AUM practice here in the United States and manages about 1.6 billion. He's going to be on the 10th. I got him confirmed yesterday.
For the 10th,
And
that'd be great. And we got some other
yeah,
amazing guests coming as well. By the way, Sasha, I know we really want to get Trump prosecuted, but everything. But apparently, a Pennsylvania man was faced and got sentenced to a year of probation for his role in the January 6th insurrection after his wife's Facebook post is how they found him, because apparently the wife was posting about it on Facebook, and that's how they found him. And now he's going to have to deal with this whole probation kind of deal because he got a plea agreement and all of that. So, wondering what y'all think about the fact that he got discovered from a Facebook post.
it's not
Yes,
secure.
she doesn't love him anymore. Or what's the story?
Well, he also got probation, which is absolutely nothing. But see, prosecuting Trump is horrible for politics in America because he brings up all the ratings, Mark. I mean, think about how boring politicians would be if it's Joe Biden. Hello, I'm your president. Guys, wear a mask. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. I mean,
Nick, you should, when you will have time, and on holidays you'll have a lot of time, search for article by David Frum from Atlantic, the latest issue.
Oh, the Atlantic. Yeah, I heard they love that.
What he writes about Joe Biden, and
Really?
what he writes essentially is that anybody can play a poker hand when you have a good cards. Try to play a good game of poker with the bad cards. That's much more complicated. And that's what Biden was doing. He was playing with a severely handicapped hand, and so far, except the last bill, he's been successful in all his. He's appointed well over 40 judges. He's done all the legislative that he promised to do, and but even that is not over yet. I think at the end of the day, he will pass. He will go through this Manchin defense, and will make it through. But even without that, he's done basically everything. So if you don't count, it's not even fiasco in Afghanistan. He's done exactly what was supposed to do. The horrible thing is that 13 lives were lost unnecessarily. That's a horrible thing. But again, is Biden personally can be blamed for that? I don't think so. It's tragedy. I totally agree.
Oh, so the Atlantic was his apologist then about.
Not the apologists. They believe that he's done in first not even 12 months, but close to in an office better than any president in the history of the United States.
Oh, you got to be kidding me! I mean, the thing is that
Just read it. And,
I'll read it. Atlantic. See, here's the problem with journalism today. Okay, the Atlantic.
What's the problem with journalism today?
Here's the problem. It's controlled by the parties. In other words, the Democratic Party. It's well known and documented. Control the Atlantic and CNN.
Except that David Frum was conservative Republican for last 40 some years.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah.
That it's controlled.
The thing is, when Mark puts up Joe Biden into the mix, watch, it's going to light up the thing. Because here's the problem, and I haven't seen his arguments. I'll read the Atlantic. I used to get that, Rag, but here's the problem with his arguments: inflation. Okay, not good. Let's look another problem. Controlling coronavirus, not good. And let's go to this spending bill. Not good. Okay. Afghanistan, not good. I mean, so the thing is, when you look at it, you're going like, what did he do to improve relationships with Russia? Right now, nothing. So you've got a huge bag behind this guy, and you're going to see when we do the poll on it, you're going to see people come out of the woodwork, and there is some legitimacy with his Hunter Biden deal. That's not something that you can just brush aside.
You just can't push it out to,
Yeah, in other words,
needs to be dealt with.
he's
But-
pushing it out.
Wait a moment, but Joe
But,
Biden
he definitely-
publicly admitted a long time ago that he agrees that what Hunter did is not appropriate, and he doesn't approve that. And,
Yeah. Yeah, and Donald Trump said, march peacefully to the end of the White House. It doesn't matter what you say. It's
when,
what
he did,
happened.
when did he say to march peacefully?
It's in the transcripts. I mean, it's in.
Really? I have to
you
find
it's
that.
not only in the transcripts. You can view it. We had a whole show on it looking for.
You
the
said
fact.
march peacefully? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
But
I know. No one
I
seems
didn't
to
know.
remember.
You know what? Now I will
was-
search it. I will really
He
search
did.
it.
You really got to
send
watch
me
it
any link that you
because
have
that is exactly what he said. And
Please
see what
send
happened
me
is.
any link to that phrase.
I will. The Democratic media just pushed on to this blame of Trump, but not listen to what he exactly said that was transcribed, and it's actually well documented.
Speaking of blaming Trump and blaming other folks, there's an interesting situation going on. When I was actually reading as y'all were talking, going on in Nebraska, because apparently they have found some great elements that can actually help make the world better and not as dependent on some of the foreign things that we do in terms of oil and other energy things. So apparently they found some elements, including niobium, scandium, and titanium, which I do know what titanium is and everything, but they're running into a problem. Even though it's in the state of Nebraska and they can apparently mine this, they're now running into this whole concept of money and this whole concept of whether people would even buy the product after they mined it, that could then reduce some of the dependency on other countries and other places. So it sounds like, do they ever build the mine? Could be like those windmills that they've got here in North Carolina that sit there and don't really do much, but they're toward the Kinston area and everything. But it sounds like that would be a great investment if you can actually find a way to do it. But then again, it probably is a horrible investment because apparently they're having a hard time getting money. So what do you think when you hear these people, like those in Nebraska, that are trying to mine things and they're having a hard time even getting
I heard from our small cap expert, stay away from mining stocks. So it's like airline stocks, mining stocks, I'm out. But here's a stock I'm interested in. It's called Lithuania. Lithuanian television takes our content. Don't ask me why, okay? But the country isn't that big. It only has like 2.7 million people. I mean, it's like the whole country you could fit into the middle of North Carolina. But what is this? And maybe Sasha can shed some light on it. Why are people in Lithuania interested in what goes on in the United States? I mean, what's the big deal here? And listen to our broadcasts and stuff.
Okay, let's go a little bit back into history. That Lithuania, in about 5-6 centuries ago, was one of the most powerful nations in Europe. It had a union with Poland, so it was basically like one nation, and they were way much stronger than Russia. And if history would run slightly differently the way it ran, it would be Lithuania in the center of all this territory controlled by Russia, not Russians. Although Lithuanian at the time, they still spoke Russian. Lithuanian language is very complicated. It's, I think, from German substract, and it's in the European language, but very, very different from Slavic languages. Nothing in common. Polish language is much closer to Russian, even Ukrainian, although Ukrainian is supposed to be, some people don't believe in the existence of Ukrainian language. They believe that it's a mixture of Polish and Russian language. It's possible, but it's neither here nor there. So Lithuania historically is very close to the West, to the Western thinking, the Western culture, and they have their stock, their nationality is really European in nature, unlike Russian, which is a mixture of Asian, European, and Scandinavian. Not even European, I would say. Some some other, not Asian, but some Mongolian
Mhm.
cultured um, history. So this is, in that sense, Lithuanian is 100% European nation, and they want to be, and they are part of Europe because evidently they're a member of NATO, they're a member of European Union, and they don't want to have nothing to do with Russia. So philosophically, I would understand their desire to be more involved in the Western way of looking at things, and maybe this is IBM TV network or POD TV
Yeah.
is helping them to achieve exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gets me because we beam out to Lithuania, and Lithuania keeps taking our content, and I couldn't understand what the deal was with why
Hey,
they like us over
hey,
there.
Nick, are we having any luck with Venezuela? Because apparently Venezuela is really coming strong and hard into the U.S. because apparently the number of Venezuelans detained by U.S. authorities on the southern border has soared to 47,762 in the year in September versus just 1,262 the year earlier period and everything. And they're saying part of that is because apparently their oil province of Zulia is not doing all that well. So a whole lot of folks are coming from that part because they're saying that, hey, that whole region that used to be very popular and it was even supplying oil to the U.S., not doing that well. So apparently they're making a
Yeah.
big migration toward this way and everything. So I wonder if we can get some viewers from Venezuela or Venezuelans that live in the U.S.
We don't tend to do well in Latin America because Spanish is their first and only language, and they don't tend to learn English. We're like in Lithuania, English may be a real strong second language for them. When I was in Europe and Italy, they all spoke English. So same with Greece. In other words, the European Union, English was a strong dominant language for them. But then when we go down to Latin America, habla español no inglés, and that's the way it is. So unless you habla español, muy poco y poco, it's horrible, Mark. And we don't have Spanish translation yet. Eventually, the computer programs will be able to instantaneously translate all of our stuff into Spanish, and then we'll be in the Latin American markets. But right now, it's very, very difficult because Spanish is a first and dominant language for the people there. Even in Russia, Sasha, when I was in St. Petersburg, they all spoke English over there. You know, at the Petro Palace, they spoke English. The police spoke broken English. We had tough time communicating with them. The people that were selling stuff, they all spoke English. I mean, it was pretty amazing. Where I was fighting to speak Russian. It was tough. You know?
Okay. If last time when I was in the south of France a few years ago, there were many restaurants where menu were in Russian, and some restaurants they had only Russian menu, not even in French. So Russians love to travel, especially because during the Soviet Union, foreign travel was restricted 100%. So now they love to travel. They take it very seriously. And they very quickly learn that unless you know one of the languages where you are going, you're helpless there because when you're arriving, let's see, in Paris and you don't know any French, so what can you say? Nothing, and you don't understand nothing. But even if you know English, you're already somewhere. So with English, you can travel to France, you can to Spain, to Portugal, to Germany, to Scandinavian country, Holland, just any place in Europe, you are okay with English. So English is the most practical language for any country, including Russia.
No, I agree with that and everything. But hey, Sasha and Nick, this may shock you and everything because this actually comes back to that city that you want to go to that you can't go to. They just, or might not be able to go to. They just yesterday approved something that's going to be very interesting. I think y'all will both find this entry interesting. Apparently, New York City yesterday became the largest city in the country to grant non-citizens voting rights. So they have said that they are going to allow as many as 800,000 legal residents to vote in local elections. So they have said that, don't have to be it should be a non-citizen. They said starting in January 2023. So that'll be next year. any New York resident with a green card or legal right to work
Okay.
in the city will be eligible to cast a ballot in the races for mayor, city council, and other citywide state offices. Other citywide offices. They are still barred from voting in state or federal elections, but at least they're in New York, they can vote. Wonder what your thoughts are. New York City, that is.
Wow, weird, but maybe not so, because you're telling me they like have green cards and they're going through the immigration process, which to me is just astronomically stupid that exist. I mean, I'm not really a fan of our immigration laws here, Mark, because the thing is it's so burdensome, and I've had personal experience with bringing people on in my company. One came in from South Africa. She's retired now, but it took her 10 years to become a U.S. citizen. It was like horrible, this whole long process to become a U.S. citizen. And then she finally got it after 10 years. And then another one was from Canada, Sasha, and I brought her in on an HB1 visa. In other words, she couldn't work without an HB1 visa, and it cost us thousands and thousands of dollars to bring these people in. And they're all good people. There wasn't anything wrong. It was we had to deal as a private company with our horrible immigration laws, and they've been horrible for years. There's all this talk about immigration reform. Nothing should take 10 years. And then let's make matters worse. Okay, the statute of limitations for people that are illegals here. The statute of limitations has been around since 1215. You know that if you commit a legal act after a period of time, you're barred by the statute of limitations. All attorneys know it, and all attorneys use it. You know, after a couple of years, barred. You know, usually 2-3 years. We don't even have a 5-year statute of limitation on illegal immigrants. It's just it's a absolutely atrocity with all these smart people in the United States. And all these lawyers that they graduate. You're telling me this is the best we can do? No, it's absolutely horrible. And to lie to the world saying, "Bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses," and it's a complete lie. It sits on what is it, Statute of Liberty? You know, strike that stuff. So what we need to do, and I know part of what Biden's trying to do is immigration reform. I keep hearing about it, but why isn't it independently done by our members of Congress? I have no idea, but it's just. It's atrocious. I mean, it's just the worst system in the world, immigration in the United States. By the way, for people thinking about coming here, don't bother. Go to Canada. It's a better country anyway.
Go to Canada? Well,
and the weather's going to be better now. Okay.
Yeah.
Eventually, because it won't be as cold.
And then you can come visit here. You know, you just go through the border and you go visit here. If you want to get your fix here, just go through the borders and visit here. But it's certainly all the indicators as Canada is actually a better place to live than the United States. Less crime, you know, better social structures. I don't know why anyone would immigrate here. This place is awful.
I'm going to tell you a very interesting detail, so you will appreciate really what U.S. Means. At least one angle is when last time, right before the COVID, I was traveling with my wife to Latin America, to Buenos Aires. And I was about to arrange ticket to fly, and I wanted to also to acquire travel insurance, although it's part of American Express or so on, but I wanted to have complete coverage.
Right.
So the main question, what is your flight route to where you have stopover?
Yeah, Buenos Aires.
I said, well, there are two ways. One, I can have stopover in Florida, and another one I could have actually non-stop to São Paulo, and then a short flight, 3-hour flight from São Paulo to Buenos Aires. So in one case, if it's a stopover in São Paulo, the travel insurance would cost $150 per person. And if through Florida, stopover is in Florida, then it's $450 per person.
Really?
Plus, if something happened to you in Florida, although you're just changing planes, so you're there maximum 2 hours.
Yeah.
If something happened there, then the expenses associated with maybe you will fall, maybe you will get sick in the hospital or so on, or maybe even die. So the consequences are very different whether you are in Florida or in São Paulo.
Yeah.
So supposedly in São Paulo, it's all process is much cheaper, and therefore it's much cheaper to cover than if something happened to you in Florida, because it's a part of the United States still, as we know.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So I assume you went to Sao Paulo then.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous. The
That's
price
an easy
spread
way.
shouldn't that be that high on travel insurance? I guess you took Air Canada also, right?
Yeah, we took Air Canada
Yeah,
to
good,
São
good
Paulo, and then some local airline. I don't remember which one.
Right, to Buenos Aires.
To Buenos
To Buenos
Aires.
Aires. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey,
See,
so
Buenos Aires is on the list of a place I think would be good to travel to. So I have it on my travel list. Brazil is not right now because they got a wingnut leader. I'm not sure what they're doing.
Yeah, they say I've got actually a friend of mine that's from Brazil, and she's told me that he actually makes that the Don look like a mild case of crazy, because she's actually told me that he's worse than the Don is. So yes, I don't know that you want to go to Brazil, because she's told me that that's not really happening.
Yeah. See, when you have the whole world and you say, okay, where am I going to travel to? There's some things that are on the list and some are off the list. And when you get, and it's so easy because you can only go to so many places. You just go, okay, this place is crazy, and you just knock it off the list. You're just not going to travel there. Why should you?
You don't want to travel there. And I've heard Belize is a great place to visit, and that's actually on my list. I've got some friends that have visited.
Yeah, Belize is fine, but El Salvador, no. Okay,
But El Salvador are accepting Bitcoin.
I know they're accepting Bitcoin, but the whole place is run by a bunch of crooks. I mean, what are you going to do? Bitcoin's perfect for El Salvador. I think it's going to be their national currency, but also because of the crime rate and the murder rate there is the worst in the world. Why would
it's supposed to be horrible there? But I don't know if y'all know this, but Jeff Bezos has apparently said that the pandemic is over, because the company has supposedly Amazon shortened employees' breaks because the pandemic is supposedly over. So that's what is going on and everything. There's some folks trying to get higher wages and longer break times, but that's apparently what they've been told, is that the pandemic's over, so we're going to shorten your breaks. So they're not really feeling that, because I don't know that it's really over, but apparently
it's not over. He just wants to shorten the breaks.
He just wants to shorten the breaks. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to.
The guy runs a tight ship. Come on.
Yeah. Remember, what's good for Beza is good for America.
Exactly. Another thing is, he runs a pretty tight ship over there in Seattle, in Medina, by the way. That's where he lives. For the people who don't know where really rich people live, it's not in Seattle. It's Medina, which is on the other side of the lake. That's where him and who's that other guy? Bill Gates.
Is that where Bill Gates hangs out at?
Yeah, it's on the other side of the lake. It's a nice little enclave city called Medina. It's in the Seattle area, but that's where Billy Boy and Jeff Bezos, they both hang out there because they have nowhere else to hang out. But when they're that rich, Mark, it's a whole different lifestyle. They have to have security guards everywhere they go. It's almost like they have the FBI working, a secret service working for them 24/7, and you can't.
Well, you asked for 2 other polls, and I just launched those recently. So we did ask people whether they would support a lockdown, and right now, not necessarily at all, has got 0%. I am good with stricter rules has got 43%. A lockdown is not necessary has got 29%, and maybe if things get worse has got 29% as well. So we've got a few votes on that one, and we've got about 105 views, and I just did that while we were talking. So that was what is going on in that. I also asked people about the stimulus package, and I'm going to see if I can pull that up and see what folks are saying, because it looks like I got some early votes on that as well. So we'll see what happens as we get ready to wind down and everything. But yes, it does look like folks are not really feeling on the lockdown, and I agree with them. I'm not really feeling the lockdown either.
Yeah, and the lockdown stuff, I know that's just not that popular right now. But at the same time, I think this thing's going to go out of control next year. I just don't see any data coming in that's really good. All the data coming in is pretty bad. So I think that's going to be the biggest problem facing early 2022 will be COVID-19.
I think that's still going to be a big problem. I agree with you. And the economic stimulus, we've got an early 5 votes, and I could surely use it. Has got a couple of votes. I don't expect we will get it. Has got a couple of votes, and desperately needed by all has got a vote. The economy is good. Don't need it. Has got no vote. So right now, everybody's saying that they would like to have some sort of stimulus coming to them and everything, because the option I gave of the economy is good and don't need it, it's got no votes right now.
Yeah. Well, when you say the economy good, and we'll probably cover it on our Early Economics Monday program, they did a couple things interesting. Joe Biden, here's something he did good. He pushed the student loan repayments out to May, but I don't know if they've really even addressed the student loan crisis in the United States. $1.8 trillion. And some of it, they really need to go to, if you want to do quantitative easement, the Fed starts buying the student loans and creates a 0.5% interest rate on them. Seriously, that's what they need to do. But this goes back to the lack of leadership in the United States Congress and the President of the United States. It's horrible. You know, we have the sad part, Mark, we got a lot of smart people in this country. They usually work for private companies where they own private companies. Then you got a lot of dumb people. They usually work for Congress where they're the President of the United States. And that's the reality of it. You know, and I'm just going like, you know, some of the solutions are actually fairly simple, but they're clouded through all these special interests that it never seems to go to the forefront. And it's just, it's horrible to watch, but it makes good theater for television. So, you know, bring the Don back, baby. Bring him back. He's great. He's great for TV. He'll always say something incredibly.
What do you think are the chances that he will be indicted, actually, and more than once?
Wow. You know, I would like to go to Las Vegas and figure out what. I'm sure the Vegas guys have.
Why don't you go to your friend David Johnson?
Yeah, David Johnson.
And he will tell you that it's over 100.
Hey, you
just
know,
when.
What we could do. See, I haven't looked at the legalized gambling laws. I know they keep changing on that. We could do is post the odds and run a bookie on stuff like that, Sasha. You know, be the house on.
Start with a very simple to answer question.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump will be indicted, period.
Right.
Then once the 90% answer will be yes, then you'd qualify. Is he going to be indicted once or more than once?
Okay, well, I got another thing for you, because on a poll that I did run about being reelected in 2024, 8% Biden, 24% said Trump. Okay, so the thing is, he's such a volatile stock. He runs from being indicted and being in jail to being another president like Grover Cleveland did and being reelected. So talk about a volatile stock. You know, Trump is one of the most volatile stocks out there, Sasha. He could be in jail in 2024. Or he could be sitting in the president's chair in 2024. You tell me. I mean, I don't know. I honestly do believe with the trends that are going that in 2022, in the midterm elections, Democrats are going to get slaughtered. They're just going to get absolutely.
It looks that way today.
They're going to lose the House. They're going to lose the Senate.
I agree.
They're going to lose everything unless they really turn the ship around. In other words, turn the ship around. In other words, inject Biden with what's the name of that stuff? Predigen or something that brings his brain cells back or something. I don't know. You know, do something where the guy actually sounds like he knows what he's doing up there. And if that happens, maybe he can turn the ship around. But the way I see it, the ship is heading toward the iceberg. And in 2022,
not the Titanic.
2022, you don't want to say you're a Democrat, baby. You're going to say, I don't know these guys. You know.
I'll always claim my roots.
We're past the hour. Sorry.
Yeah, we're time to get off of here and everything. I know that we're not doing the show on tomorrow, so folks that are watching, they will see us back on Monday and everything, because we did our holiday special today, and then we'll take a day off as everybody's doing the whole Christmas Eve thing and everything, and then we'll be back on Monday. And Sasha, are you doing your show over the weekend or not?
On Saturday, there will be a rerun of one of the previous shows.
Okay. So we're going to have a rerun on that show, and then we'll have some reruns on Monday. And then I do know that the radio show will have some guests, because I've already booked those for Monday after Christmas and the online dinner party. But we will be having some mixture of reruns and non-reruns next week. Is that correct, Nick?
Yeah, I believe so. Next week is going to be kind of a sort of a week off, you might want to say.
All right.
Except Brandon has this New Year's show. New Year's Eve.
Course.
And I think
And we're
that's going to
definitely
be,
going to be joining that party. It's going to be a big party.
yeah, I think that's going to be what
And
they do Friday
I
night.
hope we'll have live the financial show because the market is open and
Okay.
it will
Yeah.
be the last show of this year. So it
Yeah.
will be very interesting to just get a summary of what stock market did.
Is our small cap expert going to be back again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like I said, it's a world I don't transverse into. I might actually have some, and bought into them, but I'm not really sure yet whether these were small stocks or not. But overall, I don't follow that whole area. I mean, I'm like you. I like the large caps. Give me 10%. And let me go to sleep.
So is small caps the same thing as micro caps, which
Yeah,
is the
they're
guy that I
micro
had, or is they different?
They're micro caps. They're like on the pink sheets, the OTC, and they trade.
Because the guy I had was a micro cap guy. The guy that was on
it's
the.
micro cap.
The more you think about the microcap and the way Marius described that, and I agree with everything what you said. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I'm close to conclusion that the small caps are actually for wealthy people, not for not so well-to-do, because you have to basically allocate certain amount of capital. Let's see, start with at least $10,000, more likely $100,000, and bury it for say 2 years. Don't even look at that. And how many people can afford to take $10,000 or $100,000 and just completely forget about it?
Right. Yeah, because the thing is, you have to be like a long-term. Well, I mean, and also they're not income producing. You're just basing everything off growth. In other words, if the company must grow. You're not going to receive dividends. And here's the other problem: it can crash. The places I'm in ain't going to crash, and if they do crash, they come back. So it's almost like a no-brainer. They're just better. And then what I get my clients into are different. But I did find something out yesterday, which I got to do some research on, which is going to change the market a little bit. I got to talk to our people in the office. Here's the interesting thing in the market: in profit-sharing plans and pensions, even certain pensions, profit-sharing plans, you'll be able to buy private equity deals in these pensions and profit sharing plans. Now, why is that a big thing? Okay, let's say I want to invest $10,000 into whatever. Okay, if it's after tax money, I got to pay taxes, then I invest. Yep. If I get a tax deduction for it, I'm a high earned income person because I put it in my profit sharing plan, I can go invest into his deals, but deduct it as I go into the investment. And that was just past December. The new rules came out December 21st, 2021. So this is a game changer in the world, at least where I work in, Sasha, where I work with high income people making $500,000, $1.5 million a year that are always screaming for tax deductions because they don't get it. They're going to pay 30, 40, 50% in taxes. If you say, well, you can now buy that private equity deal and deduct it, sweet. So we'll talk about that next time.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Then I'll bring something to the table. Otherwise, I'm kind of worthless.
Good.
You're never worthless, but we're ready to get on out of here, and we'll see y'all on Monday. And definitely we'll be seeing, folks will be seeing some of the reruns in the meantime. Yeah, because I don't think, Billy Graham will actually be live this evening as well. So we do have at least one more live program this afternoon because Billy Graham Jr., not the televangelist, but the other guy, will be doing his show later on this evening at 8 o'clock. Coco's actually going to be on, but she did hers as a recording and everything. So she's actually got an interview with Santa Claus. So we're going to have another interview with Santa Claus coming along with a great musician, and that'll be coming your way at 6 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
then. All right.
Bye-bye,
Thanks, everybody.
everybody.
Bye-bye.